Every great movie tells two stories. There's the one you see on screen, the one with heroes, villains and heart-stopping moments. And then there's the story you don't see. The one told in spreadsheets, marketing plans and box office returns. Welcome to the film economy. We don't just review films, we reverse engineer them. We dissect the financial blueprint that turns a creative vision into a global business. Today we're opening the books on a modern masterpiece, Pixar's Coco. A film that didn't just capture our hearts, it conquered the global market. Let's break down the numbers. In the classic hit Coco 2017, starring Anthony Gonzalez as Miguel Rivera and Gael García Bernal as Héctor, directed by Unkrich, best known for Toy Story 3, audiences experienced a landmark release from Pixar Animation Studios, produced under the banner of Walt Disney Pictures. Even years later, Coco stands tall among blockbuster movies, still being compared to fan-favorite movies like Frozen from Disney and Shrek from DreamWorks, reminding movie lovers, cinema fans and film enthusiasts that some stories never fade. It is one of those must-watch movies that transcends its time, turning into a timeless movie and a genre-defining classic for both modern audiences and nostalgic fans of classic movies. When Coco debuted in 2017, it was more than just another new movie release. It became a global phenomenon. Critics hailed it as a top-rated movie, while audiences created movie reviews and reactions, flooding social media with heartfelt audience reactions that praised its emotional resonance. Its iconic movie scenes such as Miguel singing "Remember Me" to Mama Coco turned into viral movie moments, sparking movie memes, TikTok trends and endless movie spoilers discussion across online forums. This extraordinary level of fan engagement with movies ensured that Coco would not only be a hit movie in its debut year but also a rewatchable movie for generations to come. The heart of Coco lies in its story. Anthony Gonzalez as Miguel Rivera carries the film with his passionate voice performance, giving audiences a young boy torn between the love of his family and his dream of music. Alongside him, Gael García Bernal as Héctor offers charm, wit and ultimately the heartbreaking revelation that defines the film's legacy. Benjamin Bratt as Ernesto de la Cruz gives life to one of Pixar's most memorable antagonists, a reminder that even Hollywood hits can balance joy, humor and betrayal in one narrative. These performances anchor Coco as not only a fan-favorite movie but also one of those all-time great movies that continues to thrive in movie-explained breakdowns and movie trivia discussions. The craftsmanship behind Coco elevates it into the ranks of box office hits. Directed by Unkrich and co-directed by Adrian Molina, the film showcases Pixar's dedication to cultural authenticity. The vibrant visuals of the Land of the Dead, inspired by Mexican traditions of Dia de los Muertos, earned widespread admiration from critics and scholars alike. Pixar, the studio behind Inside Out, Finding Nemo and The Incredibles, cemented its reputation for producing popular movies right now that double as timeless movies. When stacked against competitive studios like DreamWorks, How to Train Your Dragon, and Illumination, Despicable Me, Coco proved Pixar's dominance in the animated field, solidifying its place in lists of classic movies and cult classics. One fascinating aspect of Coco is its streaming journey. Originally, it had a strong theatrical presence, but movie fans quickly speculated about which platform would secure its streaming rights. Would it land on Netflix, dominate Disney+, or make an appearance on Amazon Prime or HBO Max? For cinema fans, the excitement of upcoming movies and the re-release of old movies often intersects with the digital distribution era, making Coco a test case in how viral movie clips and nostalgic films can coexist in modern streaming culture. As years pass, Coco has become not just a hit movie but a retro movie with instant movie nostalgia value. Younger viewers treat it as a new release must-watch, while older audiences revisit it as one of those nostalgic films that hold up against the best of vintage films. Its ability to straddle eras is why Coco remains a box office hit-turned-cult classic, frequently included in movie ranking lists alongside both old movies and the latest movies. Ultimately, Coco's place in cinematic history is secured not only by its artistry but by the way it lives on in fan engagement, movie fan theories and endless discussions that keep its spirit alive. It is proof that timeless movies don't just exist in the past, they are created in the present and live forever in the hearts of movie fans who keep rewatching, rediscovering and reliving the magic. Behind the emotional core of Coco lies a story of financial triumph that continues to fascinate analysts, investors and executives who measure films not just by their cultural weight but also by their profitability metrics. The production budget of Coco was estimated between $175 to $200 million, a significant operating expense even for a giant like Pixar Animation Studios. This investment included extensive research into Mexican traditions, advanced animation technology and the salaries of actors like Anthony Gonzalez, Miguel Rivera, Gael García Bernal, Héctor, and Benjamin Bratt, Ernesto de la Cruz. While these actors may not command the same figures as live-action stars, the real financial risk was in Pixar's decision to pour resources into cultural authenticity, a gamble that delivered extraordinary return on investment, ROI. Globally, Coco earned over $800 million in box office performance, placing it among Pixar's most lucrative ventures. The film achieved remarkable profit margins, demonstrating that a high production budget can still yield exceptional cumulative earnings when paired with strong storytelling and critical acclaim. For comparison, Frozen from Disney surpassed $1 billion in global grosses and DreamWorks' Shrek 2 also crossed similar benchmarks. Yet while Coco's projected revenue was slightly lower, its monetization strategy extended far beyond initial ticket sales, creating long-term financial stability. One of the most compelling aspects of Coco's financial journey is its international box office success. In Mexico, it became the highest-grossing film of all time upon release, an extraordinary achievement that solidified its franchise valuation potential. This international dominance reduced the overall financial risk associated with its high operating expenses, ensuring that Pixar's gamble paid off in both cultural and economic terms. Analysts often point to this as an example of how advertising spend efficiency and cultural specificity can drive global appeal. Beyond theaters, Coco thrived in monetization streams such as streaming rights licensing, merchandising sales, royalty income and distribution fees. Once the theatrical window closed, industry speculation centered on which platform would gain exclusivity. Eventually, Disney leveraged its ownership by placing Coco on Disney+, ensuring that the film remained a driver of shareholder value while also competing with platforms like Netflix and Amazon Prime. For investors, this strategic move turned Coco into a long-term contributor to Disney's cumulative income.
Merchandising also played a critical role. From replica guitars modeled after Miguel's to toys, apparel and soundtrack sales, Coco's royalty income stream became a substantial part of its cumulative earnings. When compared to Moana and Zootopia, which also generated large-scale merchandise success, Coco proves that Pixar's approach to franchise return on investment, ROI, is not limited to sequels. Instead, the strategy rests on making films rewatchable movies that retain consumer interest across generations. From an investment perspective, Coco's profitability metrics make it a textbook case in franchise valuation. Even without a direct sequel, the film maintains strong cumulative revenue streams through home media sales, streaming and merchandise. This approach contrasts with competitor studios like DreamWorks, which often rely heavily on sequels to boost shareholder value. By focusing on quality, Pixar ensures its films have long-term legs, generating steady return on equity and reinforcing brand dominance in the animated sector. Industry chatter continues about whether Pixar will revisit the world of Coco in the form of a spin-off or series on Disney+, which would create new projected revenue opportunities. While no official sequel has been confirmed, the ongoing fan engagement with movies and cultural relevance suggests that the franchise valuation will only increase. Analysts estimate that with renewed merchandise cycles, additional licensing and possible series development, Coco could achieve further cumulative income well beyond its original theatrical success. In summary, Coco was more than a blockbuster movie, it was a high-performing financial asset that combined artistry with business acumen. Its return on investment, ROI, profit margins and diversified monetization streams show how a film rooted in culture can still dominate in the global market. For Disney and Pixar, Coco remains a model of advertising spend efficiency, shareholder value creation and sustainable franchise return on investment, ROI, proving that when storytelling and smart financial planning converge, the result is both a timeless movie and a profitable masterpiece. At the heart of Coco, 2017, is its unforgettable ensemble cast, anchored by Anthony Gonzalez as Miguel Rivera, the curious boy who dares to defy his family's ban on music. His cinematic performance as Miguel instantly connected with movie lovers, cinema fans and film enthusiasts, not only because of his voice work but also because the character arc reflected the journey of a reluctant hero who grows into his role as both musician and family unifier. For many movie fans, Gonzalez's portrayal was a breakout performance that rivaled the intensity of child actors in other blockbuster movies like Finding Nemo or The Lion King. Alongside him, Gael García Bernal as Héctor emerged as one of the most layered and fan-favorite actors in the film. Héctor, the witty and endearing trickster, fits the archetype of the forgotten man who longs for recognition. Bernal, already a Hollywood star with acclaimed roles in The Motorcycle Diaries and Y2 Mamá También, brought a depth of emotion that stunned both audience reactions and critics alike. His performance, rich with humor and sorrow, has been celebrated in movie reviews and reactions and continues to inspire movie fan theories and movie breakdowns where film enthusiasts dissect his tragic backstory. The antagonist role belongs to Benjamin Bratt as Echo Beto de la Cruz, a character embodying the archetype of the conflicted villain wrapped in glamour. Bratt's work turned Echo Beto into a memorable entry among Hollywood hits and cult classics, reminding fans of villains from other genre-defining classics. His transition from idolized hero to deceitful fraud remains one of Pixar's iconic movie scenes, often rewatched in viral movie clips and referenced in movie spoilers discussions. The reveal of Ernesto's betrayal was a viral movie moment, a twist that sparked thousands of online debates and endless fan engagement with movies. Other members of the supporting roles include Alana Ubik as Mama Imelda, who gives voice to a strong matriarchal figure, representing the archetype of the fearless protector. Ubik, known for her roles in Legally Blonde and Girlfriend's Guide to Divorce, brought both comic timing and dramatic weight to the film. Renee Victor as Abuelita Elena and Ana Ofelia Murguia as Mama Coco complete the ensemble cast, each adding heartfelt contributions that make Coco a must-watch movie for those seeking depth in animated storytelling. Casting trivia also enhances the film's reputation. When Disney and Pixar announced Anthony Gonzalez as Miguel, fan engagement with movies peaked on social platforms, with many movie fans praising the decision to use a young Mexican-American actor to maintain cultural authenticity. Rumors suggested that Gael García Bernal was handpicked for his ability to bridge global audiences, and when his casting became official, audience reactions compared his addition to the blockbuster actors brought into major Hollywood hits like Moana or Frozen. For many cinema fans, the cast dynamics of Coco rivaled live-action ensembles seen in all-time great movies. While it may not fall under categories like survival thriller or post-apocalyptic cast dynamics, the emotional intensity, family conflict and character revelations position it alongside genre-defining classics. Critics even argued that Anthony Gonzalez as Miguel could rival Haley Joel Osment's iconic work in The Sixth Sense or Dakota Fanning's roles in classic movies from the early 2000s, reinforcing his place in lists of top-rated movies and popular movies right now among movie ranking lists. As years pass, Coco has achieved dual status. For newer audiences, it is grouped among latest movies and trending movies, often recommended alongside upcoming movies on streaming platforms like Disney+. For older generations, it is a retro movie already showing signs of becoming a timeless movie, beloved as both a rewatchable movie and one of those nostalgic films destined to join the pantheon of vintage films and cult classics. In short, the ensemble cast of Coco transformed what could have been a simple animated story into one of Pixar's most iconic movie scenes-driven, fan-favorite movies. With breakout performances, award-winning actors and blockbuster actors elevating the script, the film remains a hit movie that sits proudly among Pixar's box office hits, ensuring it will forever be remembered in movie trivia, movie explained discussions and fan engagement with movies that keeps its spirit alive. The brilliance of Coco's ensemble cast is not only artistic but also financial, as every casting choice factored into the film's production budget and long-term profitability analysis. Estimates suggest that actor salaries in animated films, while generally lower than live-action blockbusters, still represented a meaningful portion of cost allocation. For Anthony Gonzalez, stepping into his first major role as Miguel, the compensation package likely fell below Hollywood's highest tiers, but his voice carried the movie, making the return on investment, ROI, return on investment, for his casting extraordinarily high. When compared to blockbuster actors like Idina Menzel in Frozen or Tom Hanks in Toy Story, Gonzalez's more modest pay ensured Pixar maximized profit margins without compromising quality. In contrast, Gael García Bernal and Benjamin Bratt commanded higher compensation packages, given their reputations as award-winning actors and established Hollywood stars. Their involvement was critical not just for narrative depth but also for franchise valuation. International markets, particularly Latin America, responded strongly to their presence, validating the financial modeling that predicted star power could directly increase revenue estimates. The Mexican box office alone accounted for over $57 million, a record-breaking figure that justified their inclusion and proved the long-term profitability of authentic casting. The total production budget for Coco was reported at around $175 to $200 million, making it one of Pixar's more expensive projects. Within this budget analysis, operating expenses tied to cast and crew compensation were balanced with cutting-edge animation technology and extensive cultural research trips. Yet despite these high costs, the profitability analysis shows that Coco grossed over $800 million worldwide, a massive return on investment, ROI, that secured both immediate projected income and lasting financial success. When we break down the distribution costs, Pixar and Disney implemented a global release strategy that minimized financial risk. By targeting both US audiences and international territories like Mexico, China and Europe, the studio optimized its marketing return on investment, ROI. Analysts praised this advertising spend efficiency, noting that cultural authenticity doubled as both an artistic win and a content monetization strategy. In investment terms, this decision generated strong shareholder value, proving that carefully balanced cost allocation and culturally informed marketing deliver superior equity returns in media. From an investor insights perspective, the compensation packages of the cast highlight a clever strategy: low upfront costs for emerging talent like Anthony Gonzalez paired with moderate salaries for established blockbuster actors such as Gael García Bernal and Benjamin Bratt. This ensured that short-term expenses did not jeopardize franchise profitability forecasts. Moreover, the emotional resonance of the cast performances translated into higher merchandising sales, extending projected income beyond the box office. Guitars, figurines, apparel and soundtrack sales all contributed to cumulative revenue streams, making the franchise valuation even stronger without requiring an immediate sequel. In terms of long-term profitability, Coco benefits from streaming rights on Disney+, where it remains a consistent driver of subscriptions and a key element in Disney's content monetization strategy. The relatively modest actor salaries compared to the film's staggering cumulative income created one of the best return on investment, ROI, examples in Pixar's modern slate. Financial analysts frequently cite Coco when discussing financial modeling in animated franchises, noting that careful cost allocation around cast choices can lead to exponential profitability growth when paired with strong cultural storytelling. Comparisons to similar films further underline its success. Frozen relied on high compensation packages for Broadway-level talent like Idina Menzel and Kristen Bell, while Moana benefited from blockbuster actor Dwayne Johnson, whose actor salary was among the highest in animation. By contrast, Coco balanced modest lead costs with strategic Hollywood stars, allowing a healthier profit margin. The result: higher return on equity and more efficient franchise profitability forecasts. Ultimately, the ensemble cast of Coco not only delivered emotionally moving performances but also provided Disney and Pixar with one of their strongest profitability analyses to date. With careful cost allocation, sustainable compensation packages and strong return on investment, ROI, the film illustrates how operating expenses in casting can be turned into long-term shareholder value. For both movie fans and Investor Insights readers, Coco proves that behind every unforgettable performance lies a sophisticated financial modeling strategy that ensures a film becomes both a timeless movie and a profitable asset in the global market. The Story of Coco, 2017, directed by Unkrich and co-directed by Adrian Molina, unfolds like a gripping narrative that balances family tradition with artistic passion, making it a standout among blockbuster movies of the past decade. At its core, it follows the survival journey of Miguel Rivera, voiced by Anthony Gonzalez, whose determination to pursue music in a household that forbids it transforms what could have been a simple children's tale into a suspense-driven narrative rich with cultural layers. For movie lovers, cinema fans and film enthusiasts, this film represents Pixar's ability to create cinematic drama that rivals even Hollywood hits like Frozen, Moana and Inside Out. From the opening scene, where the Rivera family history is explained through vibrant popple picado, to Miguel's decision to steal Echo Beto de la Cruz's guitar, every beat is part of a carefully designed story structure. His accidental journey into the land of the dead carries echoes of a dystopian thriller, though wrapped in the festive visuals of Dia de los Muertos. What keeps the audience hooked are the intense plot twists, the shocking discovery that Héctor, voiced by Gael García Bernal, is Miguel's true ancestor, and the devastating reveal that Echo Beto de la Cruz, voiced by Benjamin Bratt, is not a hero but a fraud. These revelations became viral movie moments, endlessly discussed in movie spoilers discussion, dissected in movie breakdowns and celebrated in lists of iconic movie scenes. What elevates Coco beyond a traditional children's film is the emotional weight carried by its character development arcs. Miguel evolves from a rebellious child into a boy who understands the value of family and legacy. Héctor transitions from comic relief into the heart of the story, embodying the emotional stakes that drive Miguel's choices. And Echo Beto de la Cruz, initially adored as a superstar, crumbles into one of Pixar's most memorable villains. For movie fans comparing antagonists, Ernesto's downfall sits alongside Scar in The Lion King or Lotso in Toy Story 3, creating the type of blockbuster comparison that secures a movie's place in classic movies and genre-defining classics. The cinematic masterpiece also thrives on its unforgettable scenes, like Miguel singing Remember Me to Mama Coco, voiced by Ana Ofelia Murguia. This tearful moment, where memory bridges the living and the dead, became a fan-favorite movie moment, sparking audience reactions worldwide and generating countless viral movie clips on social media. To this day, movie memes and fan theories still circulate, with some movie reviews and reactions suggesting that the song's placement represents one of Pixar's finest emotional climaxes, easily rewatchable alongside other timeless movies like Up or Wall-E. As with other all-time great movies, speculation about deleted scenes, alternative endings and post-credit scenes fueled fan engagement with movies. Some fans theorized about an extended universe where Miguel's descendants continue the story, tying it into Pixar's rumored cinematic universe expansion. This speculation has been compared to how Disney expanded Frozen into a sequel, or how DreamWorks built franchises out of Shrek and How to Train Your Dragon. These kinds of discussions not only drive viral trailer buzz but also secure Coco's place in movie nostalgia, ensuring it will be rewatched for generations. Ultimately, Coco is more than a hit movie or a box office hit. It's a cultural landmark that has become a cult classic, both for its authentic representation of Mexican heritage and for its franchise-level storytelling that transcends cultural boundaries. For film enthusiasts and casual movie fans alike, its survival journey across the land of the dead is proof that Pixar can deliver blockbuster movies that double as timeless movies, a rare feat that ensures its continued ranking among popular movies right now as well as future classic movies in lists of rewatchable movies and movie ranking lists. While audiences remember Coco for its heartfelt story, investors and analysts often view it through the lens of budget efficiency and profitability metrics, examining how a complex suspense-driven narrative translates into financial outcomes. The film's production spending was estimated between $175 to $200 million, a figure that included not only animation and cultural research but also cost per scene driven by elaborate CGI in the land of the dead. Each glowing bridge of marigold petals and each crowd-filled plaza required significant rendering resources, increasing operating expenses while raising questions about the break-even analysis. Yet Pixar's history of crafting profitable stories meant that investor forecasts were optimistic. Analysts noted that the rich world-building of Coco would enhance global distribution value, making it a safer bet compared to riskier dystopian thrillers or post-apocalyptic storytelling franchises. The gamble paid off. The film grossed over $800 million worldwide, generating a powerful return on investment, ROI, return on investment, and ensuring cumulative revenue far beyond its original budget. The storytelling itself played directly into revenue diversification. Emotional moments like Remember Me fueled soundtrack sales, while the cultural themes drove strong merchandising profitability, from toy guitars to Dia de los Muertos collectibles. Disney's monetization strategy capitalized on ancillary revenue streams, extending profits through licensing deals and cross-promotions. For investors, this meant a steady content monetization pipeline with long-tail revenue extending well past the theatrical run. Streaming revenue projections also underscore the film's financial strength. As Disney consolidated its catalog on Disney+, Coco became one of the fan-favorite movies anchoring subscriptions. By removing it from Netflix and placing it exclusively on Disney+, the studio improved advertising spend efficiency, converting a beloved blockbuster movie into a strategic driver of shareholder value. Industry reports frequently highlight Coco as an example of how content monetization through streaming platforms maximizes franchise profitability. Comparisons to other Pixar titles reveal the effectiveness of its financial modeling. While Frozen leaned heavily on sequel-driven profits, Coco relied more on ancillary revenue streams and its international success, particularly in Mexico, where it broke records. Compared to Hollywood hits like Zootopia or Inside Out, which also passed the billion-dollar mark in box office potential, Coco demonstrated a more efficient budget allocation model. Lower reliance on blockbuster actors and more investment in cultural research created stronger profit margins, resulting in higher equity returns for Disney. The financial resilience of Coco proves how storytelling enhances cumulative earnings. Each intense plot twist and emotionally charged scene contributed not just to audience reactions but also to repeat ticket sales, DVD purchases and soundtrack downloads. By tying the emotional stakes to monetization strategy, Disney ensured that every frame of Coco doubled as an investment into its franchise equity valuation. For investors, the film remains a case study in synergy between marketing and profitability. Its advertising spend efficiency was amplified by the fact that cultural authenticity became its strongest selling point, lowering reliance on traditional ad spend while maximizing organic hype through viral storytelling. In essence, Pixar transformed artistic integrity into financial performance, proving that shareholder value and cultural representation can coexist when backed by smart financial modeling. Today, Coco stands not only as a cinematic masterpiece beloved by movie lovers but also as an asset in Disney's portfolio with high franchise profitability. Its success story blends story structure with profitability metrics, reminding both film enthusiasts and investor forecasts that behind every emotionally charged plot lies a carefully designed monetization strategy that secures both critical acclaim and financial longevity. The visual world of Coco, 2017, remains one of the must-watch movies for anyone who appreciates the art of animation, as it transformed a heartfelt narrative into a breathtaking work of cinematic excellence. For many movie lovers, the journey of Miguel into the land of the dead was not only about music and family but also about the richness of color palettes, camera movements and layered visual effects that rival many blockbuster movies with live-action spectacles. Even years after its release, it continues to surface in movie ranking lists of top-rated movies, celebrated as both a fan-favorite movie and a genre-defining classic that holds a unique space among timeless movies. The cinematography of Coco, led by Pixar's team of brilliant artists and the careful direction of Unkrich, reflected a deep respect for Mexican culture while showcasing the studio's reputation for blockbuster visuals. Each sequence was carefully designed with advanced CGI techniques to create a seamless immersion into the vibrant afterlife. From the first shot where Miguel tunes his guitar under dim candlelight, to the panoramic reveal of the land of the dead, a glowing metropolis layered with bridges of marigold petals, the film offered iconic movie scenes that remain viral movie moments for cinema fans. Clips of the bridge alone continue to trend as viral movie clips across social platforms, proving that movie nostalgia and fan engagement with movies extend far beyond the theater. One of the reasons Coco feels as cinematic as any Hollywood hit is its inventive camera setups. Although animated, the creative team simulated the feel of handheld shots, wide sweeps and intimate close-ups, giving it the organic texture of live-action film aesthetics. These immersive visuals are not simply background, they become part of the emotional storytelling. When Miguel plays for his great-grandmother Mama Coco, the intimacy of the framing mirrors the raw emotional stakes, turning the moment into a universally remembered unforgettable scene. For movie fans, it is these moments that elevate Coco from being just a children's story to a classic movie comparable to old movies that defined cinema's golden age. Much of the excitement around Coco before its release was fueled by viral trailer buzz and fan theories circulating about how Pixar would represent the afterlife. The speculation around deleted scenes, alternative endings and post-credit sequences contributed to movie spoilers discussions that remain active on forums. Even now, movie breakdowns and movie explained videos on YouTube continue to generate millions of views, as film enthusiasts analyze the color symbolism, the metaphor of memory and the layered world building that rivals franchise-level storytelling. What makes Coco especially striking to cinema fans is its ability to balance high-definition visuals with grounded humanity. Unlike retro movies or vintage films that relied on practical sets, Pixar's use of advanced CGI technology created a world that feels timeless while setting benchmarks for upcoming movies in the animation industry. This blend of classic movies' influence with new movie releases innovation created a film that speaks to both older audiences craving nostalgic films and younger audiences seeking trending movies. In many ways, it works like cult classics, rewatchable not just for the story but for the sheer artistry of its cinematography. Pixar's production design drew heavily on authentic Mexican architecture, blending memorable scenes of small-town courtyards with the grand spectacle of afterlife skyscrapers built from stacked generations of memories. These touches gave the visual storytelling its unique tone, making every frame feel handcrafted. For movie fans, it was not just animation but cinematic storytelling with the same grandeur as blockbuster actors bringing life to live-action epics. When comparing Coco to other blockbuster movies like Frozen, Moana, or Zootopia, its cinematography arguably stands apart. While those films also provided fan-favorite performances and cinematic drama, Coco emphasized lighting design and scene composition that felt painterly, almost like a moving mural. These qualities explain why it is still celebrated in movie reviews and reactions, often ranked among all-time great movies. The film remains a rewatchable movie, with audience reactions ranging from joy to tears, cementing its place in cinema fans' emotional canon. Even today, the film's cinematic universe expansion is a topic of movie fan theories, as many speculate whether Pixar will build sequels or spin-offs using the same world-building techniques. This fan speculation is proof of its success as a franchise-level storytelling model that resonates with generations. Just as cult classics gain momentum over time, Coco continues to generate movie memes, fan art and viral storytelling moments that feed into Pixar's reputation as a studio capable of creating both blockbuster visuals and timeless movies. Ultimately, Coco is more than just one of the popular movies right now on streaming platforms like Disney+. It is a cinematic masterpiece that blends visual effects, cinematography and cinematic artistry in a way that places it alongside nostalgic films, genre-defining classics and viral movie moments. For movie lovers and film enthusiasts, it is a film that defines why people fall in love with Hollywood hits in the first place, the power of unforgettable imagery and the artistry of storytelling through visuals. Behind the breathtaking artistry of Coco, 2017, lies a complex financial structure shaped by VFX cost, CGI expenses and strategic production budget allocation. Pixar and Walt Disney Pictures invested heavily in cinematography and post-production spending, ensuring that every detail of marigold petals and skeletal movements was refined to perfection. These choices significantly increased operating costs, yet analysts argue that the returns proved it to be one of the most efficient cases of budget efficiency in animation history. By investing in blockbuster visuals, the studio maximized both box office potential and long-tail streaming revenue projections. When comparing production efficiency across animated films, Coco stands out because its cost per scene was balanced by high emotional impact, ensuring that each minute of screen time justified its investment. Unlike live-action films, which often face ballooning equipment expenses and stunt choreography costs, Pixar streamlined its resources into CGI development pipelines. The outcome was a highly optimized financial modeling structure where technology innovation supported creative storytelling. For Disney's investors, this represented a sustainable monetization strategy with high shareholder value. Estimates suggest that Coco carried a production budget in the range of $175 to $200 million, comparable to other animated box office hits. However, what distinguished its performance was the revenue diversification achieved through multiple channels. Theatrical runs across global markets generated significant cumulative revenue, but the addition of international digital licensing, ancillary revenue streams and merchandising tie-ins pushed profitability even further. Guitar replicas, marigold-themed collectibles and musical toys became a powerful driver of merchandising profitability, proving that franchise revenue potential extended beyond cinema. For financial analysts, the strength of Coco lies in its exceptional return on investment, ROI, return on investment. Its worldwide gross of over $800 million against its production budget demonstrates a strong profitability analysis. Even after accounting for distribution costs, advertising spend efficiency and post-production spending, the film's projected earnings indicate substantial margins. By comparison, similar animated films from DreamWorks or Illumination faced challenges in achieving such high equity returns. Pixar's investment in advanced CGI expenses paid off not only in terms of artistry but also in long-term profitability. What adds another layer of financial strength is the way streaming revenue projections continue to provide reliable cash flow. On Disney+, Coco remains among the popular movies right now, often included in themed promotions around Dia de los Muertos. This consistent presence supports Disney's content monetization pipeline, enhancing shareholder value by keeping the title evergreen for movie nostalgia-driven audiences. Unlike old movies that fade from circulation, Pixar's digital strategy ensures that Coco maintains high cumulative earnings through on-demand platforms. Financial experts highlight that post-production spending on cinematography and high-definition visuals increased exposure risks but ultimately created global distribution return on investment, ROI. The Land of the Dead sequences, for example, required unprecedented rendering power, which inflated CGI expenses. However, these very scenes became viral movie clips, driving massive audience reactions and boosting long-term profitability metrics. In other words, high costs translated directly into high visibility and long-tail franchise valuation. When analysts conduct a break-even analysis, Coco demonstrates resilience in its franchise profitability forecast. Even if production costs were at the higher end of estimates, the robust performance across theatrical, streaming and merchandising platforms ensured that profitability was achieved quickly. By leveraging marketing synergy with cultural authenticity, Disney reduced reliance on heavy advertising spend while benefiting from organic cultural relevance. This is an example of how content return on investment, ROI, can be maximized when storytelling intersects with financial planning. The broader industry also uses Coco as a benchmark for studio revenue optimization. Its model of investing in high-quality cinematography and visual effects illustrates that operating costs can be justified when offset by strong global distribution value and long-term profitability. Compared to competitors, Pixar's willingness to allocate large sums into production efficiency and digital monetization strategies proved visionary. By doing so, they not only created a cinematic masterpiece but also established a blueprint for balancing artistic risk with financial resilience. In conclusion, Coco is remembered by movie lovers for its cinematic storytelling and by analysts for its exceptional financial modeling. Its blend of CGI expenses, production budget discipline and expansive revenue diversification made it both a blockbuster movie and a financial triumph. It exemplifies how a film can achieve high shareholder value while offering timeless movie experiences to film enthusiasts, proving that artistry and finance can coexist within a single cinematic vision. The heartbeat of Coco, 2017, is its official soundtrack, a collection of iconic tracks and memorable themes that not only guide the audience through the narrative but also celebrate Mexican tradition with authenticity. The composer Michael Giacchino, who had already established himself as a score composer of cinematic music for globally successful films, created a thematic score that blends orchestral arrangements with folkloric instruments. From the first note, it was clear this would be a soundtrack highlight in modern animation history. At the center of this music-driven storytelling stands Miguel, voiced by Anthony Gonzalez, whose youthful voice carries the performance of Remember Me, the film's fan-favorite song. The ballad, written by Kristen Anderson Lopez and Robert Lopez, works as both a chart-topping track and an emotional spine. When Héctor, voiced by Gael García Bernal, sings it softly to his daughter, the thematic score shifts from festive mariachi tones to intimate lullaby, showing how musical motifs can transform meaning depending on context. Echo Beto de la Cruz, brought to life by Benjamin Bratt, delivers the same song in flamboyant style, highlighting the soundtrack's range of viral remixes and orchestral sessions. Each performance becomes a soundtrack highlight that contributed to its soundtrack popularity on streaming platforms. The orchestral sessions at Abbey Road Studios captured the grandeur of Giacchino's memorable themes, while traditional Mexican ensembles provided regional authenticity. This hybrid production approach gave Coco its soundtrack acclaim, making it not just another animated score but an award-winning score that won the Academy Award for Best Original Song. The cinematic music resonated worldwide, a testament to the universal power of a thematic score grounded in culture but amplified by Hollywood orchestration. Streaming platforms amplified this momentum. Within weeks of release, Remember Me trended in cinematic music streaming buzz, with covers on YouTube, viral remixes on TikTok and streams across Spotify and Apple Music. This extended the film's life cycle beyond theaters, as the soundtrack's streaming success opened doors for new audiences discovering Coco years after release. Compared with other animated franchises, Coco's soundtrack popularity maintained staying power, rivaling soundtrack charts occupied by musicals and live-action blockbusters. The supporting cast also elevated the soundtrack highlights. Alana Ubik as Mama Imelda provided fiery vocals in La Llorona, which became a fan-favorite song for its dramatic, operatic tones. Together with Gonzalez and Bernal, these performers made the franchise music potential of Coco undeniable. Disney realized that its memorable themes could travel across cultural and generational boundaries, giving the film a place among franchise music potential icons like other animated musicals. The composer commentary on production revealed that Giacchino wanted every thematic score moment to feel like a bridge between Mexican authenticity and global accessibility. He layered guitars, violas and trumpets into the orchestration, ensuring that every pluck of a string reinforced the story's heart. This commitment to cinematic music authenticity gave the soundtrack its soundtrack acclaim and secured its place among soundtrack highlights of the decade. In the end, Coco, 2017's official soundtrack stands not just as an accompaniment but as a narrative force. With its iconic tracks, orchestral sessions, fan-favorite songs and music-driven storytelling, it redefined what a score composer could achieve in animated cinema. For fans, the memorable themes continue to inspire streaming success, proving that a deeply cultural yet universal soundtrack highlight can become a global phenomenon. Beyond its artistry, the Coco, 2017 soundtrack demonstrates how music licensing, soundtrack sales and streaming revenue can significantly impact a studio's bottom line. Disney and Pixar approached the music not just as a creative element but as a key asset in content monetization and digital rights monetization. The global appeal of Remember Me turned the song into a revenue engine, with projected return on investment, ROI, measured not only in box office success but also in long-term cumulative earnings through soundtrack sales and streaming revenue. The soundtrack album's release across physical and digital formats immediately created new revenue streams. Vinyl collector's editions tapped into merchandising synergy, while streaming platforms provided continuous soundtrack marketing return on investment, ROI. Each play on Spotify, Apple Music, or YouTube represented a small but steady piece of streaming revenue, contributing to cumulative earnings that compounded year after year. In an age of content monetization, Coco's soundtrack showed how digital soundtrack monetization can rival traditional album sales. For investors and studios alike, the music's performance highlighted the importance of profit projections tied to music licensing income. Remember Me was licensed across advertising campaigns, concert performances and international covers, each generating licensing revenue that reinforced Disney's monetization strategy. By diversifying revenue streams, the studio optimized profit margins and boosted overall shareholder value. The synergy extended to merchandise. Collector's editions of the soundtrack, special orchestral recordings and tie-ins with Dia de los Muertos merchandise maximized merchandising synergy. These merchandising tie-ins became part of a broader financial plan, proving that soundtrack marketing return on investment, ROI, goes beyond digital royalties. When audiences bought dolls of Miguel that played Remember Me or themed guitars, it exemplified how music and products merge into a unified franchise music value ecosystem. Compared to other animated films, Coco set new benchmarks for licensing income and streaming revenue. Its ability to sustain cumulative earnings through both digital rights monetization and soundtrack sales provided investor insights into how high CPM music monetization strategies can extend the profitability of a single film across decades. With projected return on investment, ROI, still strong years after release, the soundtrack's streaming success continues to reinforce Pixar's reputation for combining artistry with business efficiency. The production process itself reflected production cost efficiency. By combining local musicians with Hollywood orchestration, Pixar managed to control expenses while maximizing cultural authenticity, enhancing profit projections without inflating budgets. This strategy balanced creativity with estimated profit margins, an approach that investors recognize as sustainable in the long run. From a financial lens, Coco's soundtrack is a model of content revenue diversification. Between soundtrack sales, streaming revenue, music licensing income and merchandising tie-ins, the film turned its music into a multi-channel profit machine. For shareholders, the cumulative earnings represented not just short-term success but long-term franchise music value, especially as songs like Remember Me remain evergreen. In conclusion, Coco, 2017's official soundtrack is both an artistic triumph and a financial powerhouse. Its soundtrack acclaim secured cultural immortality, while its licensing revenue, streaming revenue and soundtrack marketing return on investment, ROI, ensured consistent financial returns. For fans, the iconic tracks live on in memory. For investors, the soundtrack remains a case study in high CPM music monetization, return on investment, ROI, optimization and content monetization that continues to deliver value long after the credits rolled. The fan engagement surrounding Coco, 2017, exploded almost immediately after release, fueled by the film's colorful visuals, emotional story and unforgettable characters. Pixar and Disney rolled out a range of official merchandise that connected audiences to the world of Miguel, voiced by Anthony Gonzalez, Héctor, voiced by Gael García Bernal, Beto de la Cruz, voiced by Benjamin Bratt, and Mama Imelda, voiced by Alana Ubik. From collectibles and themed apparel to action figures and limited edition releases, the studio understood that the pathway to long-term success lay not just in box office hits but in sustained audience engagement. The rollout of official merchandise featured guitars inspired by Miguel's iconic instrument, plush toys of Dante the Alebrije and fashion lines tied to Dia de los Muertos themes. These collectibles quickly became part of pop culture footprint, with kids dressing up in cosplay as Miguel during Halloween and Dia de los Muertos celebrations. The cosplay competitions at fan conventions further amplified audience participation, reinforcing how Coco blurred the line between screen and real-world culture. Disney also pushed social media campaigns heavily, sparking viral fan theories, Instagram trends and TikTok challenges where fans recreated scenes or shared covers of Remember Me. This viral content transformed Coco into more than a film. It became a cultural relevance movement where fan art, Instagram memes and community-driven campaigns kept the brand alive long after theatrical release. One of the strongest examples of fan anticipation came through exclusive drops. When Disney launched limited edition replicas of Miguel's guitar, they sold out within days, proving that scarcity drives merchandise hype. Franchise collectibles like Funko Pop figures of Miguel, Héctor and Beto de la Cruz became fan-favorite scenes in retail stores. The demand reflected the strength of Coco's fan conventions presence, where franchise collectibles gained visibility alongside costumes and themed events. Compared with other animated franchises such as Frozen, 2013, and Moana, 2016, the fan engagement with Coco showed deeper cultural ties. While Frozen became a blockbuster movie with massive merchandise hype built around Elsa and Anna costumes and Moana tapped into franchise expansion with its Polynesian-inspired designs, Coco distinguished itself by rooting its franchise potential in authentic Mexican traditions. The cultural resonance ensured that fans didn't just purchase toys or costumes but actively tied the film to their family celebrations, creating a cinematic milestone that connected personal identity to cinema fans' experiences. Disney's streaming popularity campaigns also extended Coco's cinematic impact. On Disney+, Coco became one of the most rewatchable movies during Dia de los Muertos season, consistently ranking as a fan-favorite film in movie ranking lists. Viral discussions like movie spoilers discussions, movie explained breakdowns and even movie trivia videos around the film's hidden Easter eggs built ongoing audience engagement. What sets Coco's cultural relevance apart is how it moved beyond traditional Hollywood hits and entered the category of genre-defining classics. Its music, visuals and themes placed it alongside cult classics that are rewatchable movies every holiday season. Just like Frozen had Let It Go as its viral movie clip, Coco had Remember Me, which became an iconic movie scene shared globally across viral movie moments. Similarly, Moana's soundtrack carried her story into fan culture, but Coco's viral content leaned more toward honoring family bonds, giving it a timeless movie quality that deepened its film legacy. In the long run, Coco's franchise potential lies in expanding its cinematic milestones through spin-offs, short films and streaming platform hits. Fans have already speculated in viral fan theories about a sequel or a Disney Plus series exploring Héctor's backstory. The studio has leaned into this fan anticipation by keeping the characters alive in shorts, themed park rides and seasonal franchise expansions. This reflects a strategy similar to Frozen's sequels and merchandise cycles and Moana's upcoming live-action remake, showing that Coco is firmly planted as a must-watch movie with long-term blockbuster continuity. Ultimately, the audience engagement of Coco stands as proof of its cinematic impact. By blending official merchandise, viral fan theories, streaming popularity and cultural resonance, Disney and Pixar built one of their most powerful franchise expansions in recent memory. The film legacy of Coco ensures that it will remain a top-rated release in the hearts of movie fans, film enthusiasts and cinema fans, standing proudly next to Frozen and Moana as one of Disney's most culturally rich and globally beloved animated films. From a financial perspective, the merchandising revenue generated by Coco, 2017, was a vital component of Disney's broader revenue diversification strategy. The movie's cultural authenticity and universal themes provided fertile ground for licensing income, promotional tie-ins and long-term franchise valuation. Analysts projected that strong fan engagement would translate into significant cumulative revenue from toys, apparel, collectibles and digital campaigns, reinforcing the film's strong operating profit margins and projected investor returns. Disney's approach to merchandising life cycle around Coco exemplified multi-channel revenue management. The studio launched Miguel's guitar replicas, Echo Beto de la Cruz action figures and Dia de los Muertos themed apparel as part of a calculated profit forecast. Each category offered new content monetization opportunities, while expanding the brand in untapped markets like Latin America. By ensuring that licensing income covered both physical and digital products, Disney maximized shareholder value and long-term projected earnings. The digital rights income side of content monetization proved equally lucrative. Branded collaborations with music streaming services, interactive video games and augmented reality filters allowed fans to engage with Coco digitally. These tie-ins created new high CPM advertising streams, where strategic partnerships amplified franchise monetization. For Disney, this kind of multi-channel earnings reduced dependence on theatrical runs and broadened cumulative revenue streams across platforms. Promotional tie-ins were also crucial. Food brands released limited edition Dia de los Muertos packaging. Fashion retailers sold themed apparel and toy manufacturers expanded their product lines with Coco collectibles. Each partnership added to profit forecasts and offered tangible marketing return on investment, ROI. The synergy between merchandising lifecycle and global distribution meant the film continued to sell products years after its release, sustaining operating profit and reinforcing franchise return on investment, ROI. When compared with Frozen, 2013, and Moana, 2016, Coco showed a different but equally powerful path to revenue diversification. Frozen's merchandising revenue is estimated to have surpassed billions through princess dresses and toys, and Moana's profitability was enhanced by Polynesian-inspired dolls, costumes and play sets. Coco, however, became a case study in localized monetization, where cultural resonance created a niche yet scalable franchise valuation. While Frozen's cumulative revenue relied heavily on global princess branding and Moana's return on investment, ROI, came through ocean adventure branding, Coco's projected earnings were anchored in seasonal but repeatable merchandising revenue cycles tied to Dia de los Muertos. The cumulative revenue model of Coco integrated merchandising revenue, licensing income, digital rights income and promotional tie-ins to optimize shareholder value. This approach allowed Disney to predict long-term profitability benchmarks, balancing theatrical operating profit with ongoing investor return on investment, ROI. Continuing sales of Miguel's guitar, Funko Pops and Dia de los Muertos costumes years later proved the durability of its merchandising life cycle. For investors, the real strength of Coco's financial model lies in its franchise return on investment, ROI, potential. Every TikTok challenge, cosplay event and viral Instagram trend directly fueled cumulative revenue and added to content monetization pipelines. This alignment between cultural engagement and financial performance allowed Disney to secure strong projected investor returns while enhancing long-term franchise valuation. Compared to Frozen's merchandising dominance and Moana's ongoing profitability, Coco may not have reached the same raw sales numbers but delivered a higher marketing return on investment, ROI, relative to its cultural specificity. The merchandising life cycle extended well beyond initial release, showing the scalability of culturally targeted narratives. For shareholders, this reinforced the notion that cultural authenticity can produce strong operating profit and sustainable multi-channel revenue streams. In conclusion, Coco, 2017, demonstrates how merchandising revenue and fan engagement can be aligned with long-term franchise valuation. Through multi-channel earnings, licensing income and streaming sustainability, the film proved that emotionally resonant stories yield both cultural impact and financial strength. Its mix of cumulative revenue, marketing return on investment, ROI, and shareholder value ensures that Coco remains not just a cinematic milestone, but also a textbook case in franchise monetization for the modern era. The marketing of an animated film from a powerhouse like Disney Pixar is a meticulously orchestrated global event, designed to transform a movie into a cultural touchstone. For movie lovers, this journey begins months, sometimes years, in advance, with a single piece of concept art or a carefully crafted teaser. This is the world of cinematic SEO, where every marketing asset, from the first trailer to the last TV spot, is engineered to capture hearts, spark conversation and build a groundswell of anticipation that ensures a massive opening weekend. A perfectly executed campaign doesn't just sell tickets, it embeds the film's characters and music into the cultural zeitgeist, turning it into a fan favorite that families will cherish for generations. From a financial perspective, however, this global marketing push represents a colossal investment, a nine-figure line item known as the P&A budget, prints and advertising. This is the high-stakes domain of CPM analysis, where every dollar of marketing spend is tracked, analyzed and optimized for maximum impact. Studio executives at Disney live in a world of media buying costs, marketing spend return on investment, ROI, calculations and complex strategies to dominate the family entertainment market. The goal is to create an unstoppable wave of awareness that maximizes the profit margin per screen and guarantees a spectacular return on an already massive production investment. The distribution strategy, from a star-studded premiere to a meticulously planned global rollout, is a masterclass in financial and logistical precision. Today, we will explore the brilliant marketing and distribution of a film that didn't just win Oscars, it won the hearts of the world. The official trailer for Coco, dropping with a series of stunning and emotional teaser release moments that sparked immense fan buzz, set the stage for a premiere event rivaling Frozen's global excitement. The massive social media campaign built the theatrical release hype to a fever pitch, setting the stage for its eventual blockbuster streaming debut on Disney+. The marketing for Coco was a masterclass in balancing spectacle with heart. The first trailers focused heavily on the breathtaking visuals of the Land of the Dead, showcasing Pixar's unparalleled animation prowess. These clips immediately went viral, with trailer views skyrocketing into the tens of millions as fans marveled at the vibrant colors and imaginative world building. The campaign brilliantly pivoted in its later stages to highlight the film's emotional core. Subsequent TV spots and extended clips focused on Miguel's relationship with his family, particularly his great-grandmother Mama Coco and the powerful theme song, Remember Me. This emotional hook is what truly resonated with audiences, transforming Coco from just another beautiful animated film into a must-see family event. The press tour was extensive, with the cast and creators emphasizing the film's deep respect for Mexican culture and the universal story of family and remembrance. This authentic approach generated overwhelmingly positive early reviews and further fueled the fan excitement. This wasn't just another movie, it was a cultural celebration. The social media campaign for Coco was a vibrant and engaging affair, filled with stunning artwork, behind-the-scenes featurettes and interactive content that celebrated the traditions of Dia de Muertos. Fan reactions were overwhelmingly positive, with many praising the film for its authentic representation and powerful message. The hype surrounding the theatrical release was enormous, leading to a massive opening weekend and incredible legs at the box office, driven by powerful word of mouth. The profit margin per screen for theater owners was likely very strong, as families returned for repeat viewings. Following its successful theatrical run, the film's streaming debut on Disney Plus was a major event, where Coco quickly became one of the most watched films in the platform's extensive catalog, cementing its status as a modern classic. With an estimated P&A budget well over $150 million, Coco's marketing strategy, while expensive, was a masterclass in efficiency that likely outperformed competitor films on a marketing spend return on investment, ROI, basis. Disney's marketing machine leveraged highly effective targeted ad spend across digital, broadcast and print platforms to reach its core family demographic. In the modern era of theatrical releases, the PVOD vs theatrical debate is crucial, but for a major Pixar release like Coco, the strategy was clear: maximize the theatrical return on investment, ROI, first to establish the brand before moving to other revenue windows. This approach is designed to maximize international distribution return on investment, ROI, and secure premium streaming licensing deals, in this case, with its own platform. Disney wasn't just selling a movie, it was launching a multi-billion-dollar franchise asset. The film's financial success was driven by the incredible efficiency of its massive P&A budget. Disney's global marketing infrastructure allows for enormous economies of scale, meaning its media buying CPM, cost per thousand impressions, is often lower than that of its competitors despite the higher overall spend. Every dollar of marketing spend was amplified by Disney's synergistic empire, from promotions at its theme parks to features on its television networks. This created a marketing spend return on investment, ROI, that is the envy of the industry. The distribution fees collected by Disney from theaters worldwide would have been substantial, and the theatrical revenue split would have been highly favorable to the studio, especially given the film's long and successful run, which grossed over $800 million globally. Key stat: a major animated blockbuster from a studio like Disney/Pixar typically aims for a final global box office gross that is at least 4 to 5 times its combined production and P&A budget to be considered a major financial success. Coco easily surpassed this benchmark. This incredible performance directly bolstered the profit margin per screen. Family films with strong word of mouth, like Coco, tend to have long theatrical runs with minimal drop-off week to week, making them highly profitable for theater owners and the studio alike. The theatrical return on investment, ROI, was exceptional. But the financial story truly explodes in the ancillary markets. The film's eventual home on Disney Plus is a key part of the platform's value proposition. The internal streaming licensing CPM value that a film like Coco provides is immense, as it serves as a powerful tool for both subscriber acquisition and retention. This is a crucial component of modern content monetization. The strategy for international sales was particularly brilliant. By launching the film in Mexico a month before the US release to coincide with the Dia de Muertos holiday, Disney generated massive local buzz and goodwill, turning it into the country's highest-grossing film of all time. This success created a powerful narrative that fueled its international distribution return on investment, ROI, in other markets. From a pure investment perspective, Coco represents a near-perfect execution of the blockbuster model. The enormous budget was a calculated risk. But it was backed by a marketing and distribution strategy that guaranteed global success. The film's financial performance not only delivered incredible shareholder value but also launched a beloved new IP with massive, long-term merchandising and licensing potential. Fans of the Book of Life's vibrant celebration of Mexican folklore and Inside Out's profound emotional depth will find Coco bridges both worlds, delivering breathtaking, blockbuster storytelling moments that rival franchise-level hits now streaming on Disney+. For dedicated movie lovers, placing a film within its cinematic context is key to appreciating its genius. A compare with other films analysis isn't about declaring a winner, but about understanding a film's unique contributions to its genre and the conversations it has with its predecessors. This is the CO of cinematic legacy, where a film's relationship to its genre rivals and other fan favorites helps define its place in the cultural lexicon for years to come. But for every artistic comparison, there is a parallel financial one. In the highly competitive world of animated features, studio executives don't just see genre rivals, they see direct box office competition and threats to their all-important market share projection. Every new animated film is greenlit after an exhaustive analysis of comparative revenue models and return on investment, ROI, benchmarks set by previous hits. This is the high CPM world of strategic filmmaking, where a movie is not just a work of art but a calculated move in a multi-billion-dollar chess game. The decision to produce a film like this was a strategic maneuver designed to capture a specific global audience and deliver an exceptional risk-adjusted return on investment, ROI. We will now explore both the artistic and financial comparisons that illuminate this film's monumental success. Section A, Movie SEA. When diving into a compare with other films discussion about Coco, the most immediate and obvious comparison is to 2014's The Book of Life. Both films are visually stunning love letters to Mexican culture, particularly the traditions of Dia de Muertos. The Book of Life is a beautiful film with a unique, stylized wooden puppet animation style and a story rooted in a love triangle and mythology. However, where it focuses more on myth and romance, Coco dives deep into the theme of familia and the profound emotional weight of being remembered. While they are often seen as genre rivals, many film enthusiasts view them as wonderful companion pieces that celebrate the same culture from different artistic perspectives. The success of both proves there is a strong audience for these stories, but the massive box office performance of Coco highlights Pixar's incredible ability to deliver a story with universal emotional resonance, which in turn leads to a stronger long-term risk-adjusted return on investment, ROI. Beyond this direct comparison, Coco shares its DNA with some of Pixar's own greatest hits. The most significant is Inside Out, another one of the top films in the genre. Both films take a complex, abstract concept in one case, human emotions, in the other, the afterlife and memory, and transform it into a breathtaking, tangible world with clear, understandable rules. This ability to visualize the invisible is a hallmark of modern Pixar. Furthermore, franchise comparisons can be made to the Toy Story series, as both explore themes of being forgotten and the deep-seated fear of no longer having a purpose. This thematic depth is why these films aren't just for kids, they are profound stories that resonate with adults, making them perennial fan favorites. This wide appeal is a key factor in mitigating financial risk and ensuring a positive risk-adjusted return on investment, ROI. The influence of Coco can also be seen in more recent animated films that prioritize authentic cultural storytelling, such as Disney's own Encanto and Moana. These films have learned from the success of Coco, understanding that specificity is the key to universality. By grounding their stories in the rich details of a particular culture, they create worlds that feel real and characters that are deeply relatable. This has become a winning formula for Disney and Pixar, consistently delivering films that dominate their box office competition. For movie lovers, Coco stands as a shining example of this new golden age of animation, a film so beloved that its place on the Disney Plus homepage is all but permanent, solidifying its status as one of the most important animated films of the 21st century. While The Book of Life earned respectable comparative revenue for a non-Disney animated feature, and a film like How to Train Your Dragon achieved excellent return on investment, ROI, benchmarks for DreamWorks, Coco's budget vs performance analysis demonstrates the sheer financial power of the Disney Pixar brand. The film's estimated budget of around $175 to $225 million was a massive investment, but its global box office return of over $800 million showcases a budget vs box office performance that is the envy of the industry. This wasn't just a success, it was a strategic triumph that reinforced Disney's dominance in the family entertainment market share projection. This incredible result is a testament to a masterfully calculated risk-adjusted return on investment, ROI. The studio's strategic approach can be seen in its competitive spend comparison and market positioning. Disney's marketing machine is second to none, allowing it to outspend and outmaneuver nearly all box office competition. This aggressive marketing effectively mitigates market saturation risk by positioning a film like Coco not as just another animated movie, but as a must-see global cultural event. This strategy generates a massive return on competition spend, as it draws in audiences far beyond the typical family demographic and dominates the cultural conversation for weeks. The final benchmark revenue for Coco far exceeded initial expectations, particularly in international markets. A thorough saturation risk assessment is always conducted by Disney, and for Coco, the unique story helped it stand out. Key stat: the global animation market is fiercely competitive, but Pixar films historically have a significantly higher genre return on investment, ROI, average than their competitors, often achieving a 4x to 5x multiplier on their production budget from theatrical revenue alone, before ancillary streams are even factored in. This exceptional performance is a direct result of a precise budget vs performance analysis that leverages the studio's brand trust and its global distribution network. A detailed saturation risk assessment would have identified the potential for audience fatigue with animated sequels, making an original story like Coco a calculated risk. However, the studio correctly gambled that a high-quality, emotionally resonant and culturally specific story would cut through the noise. This decision resulted in a phenomenal risk-adjusted return on investment, ROI. The comparative revenue generated by Coco not only dwarfed most of its genre rivals but also created a new, beloved IP with enormous, long-term merchandising and licensing potential. Every dollar spent on its breathtaking animation and authentic cultural research contributed to a brand that will continue to generate high-value CPM streams for decades. This confirms the studio's initial market share projection and showcases a flawless execution of managing risk-adjusted return on investment, ROI. The cultural echo of Coco, 2017, has been wide and persistent. Miguel, voiced by Anthony Gonzalez; Héctor, voiced by Gael García Bernal; Echo Beto de la Cruz, voiced by Benjamin Bratt; Mama Imelda, voiced by Alana Ubik; and Mama Coco, voiced by Ana Ofelia Murguia, are not just characters in a film but pillars of a living fan culture that keeps reinterpreting the film across social media and real-world ritual. The film's viral scenes, Miguel strumming the stolen guitar, Dante causing comic chaos, and Héctor's final, aching rendition of Remember Me became internet trends and viral clips that circulated as memes, cover videos and influencer reactions. For movie lovers and cinema fans, this translated into continuous audience reactions, repeated viewings on streaming platforms, and micro-communities that treat Coco as both a must-watch movie and a cherished cultural touchstone. Coco's pop culture influence is frequently compared to films that blend folklore, music and striking visual identity. The Book of Life shares obvious DNA with Coco in its Day of the Dead aesthetics, but Coco deepened the emotional stakes and earned broader mainstream streaming engagement because of Pixar's global reach. Soul, another Pixar title, and Encanto, Disney, join Coco in modern discussions of animated films that use music to probe identity and family, and they often appear together in movie ranking lists and roundups of trending movies. Gothic-tinged classics like The Nightmare Before Christmas and stop-motion wonders like Kubo and the Two Strings form a different axis of comparison, showing how animated films that touch on life/death, memory, or cultural mythos become cult classics and rewatchable movies. The film's influence moved beyond screens into everyday life. Families built ofrendas inspired by the movie, children dressed as Miguel for celebrations, and artists created fan portraits of Héctor and Mama Imelda. The result is robust fan-driven content, where movie fan theories about Héctor's past or secret Easter eggs coexist with sincere essays on representation. Coco also triggered viral trends, from TikTok covers of Remember Me to Instagram filters that mimic the Land of the Dead's luminous color palette, keeping the movie visible among movie fans hunting for new movie releases and among older viewers indulging in movie nostalgia. Trivia feeds that cultural momentum. Animators studied Mexican textiles and painted hundreds of costume designs to ensure authenticity. Production teams recorded real guitarists so Miguel's playing looked and felt genuine. The choice to cast a Mexican-American child actor, Anthony Gonzalez, and powerful Latin performers like Gael García Bernal and Benjamin Bratt amplified the film's credibility and helped it resonate with Latin audiences worldwide. In Mexico, the film set box office records for animated releases and its characters turned up in fan conventions. Museums and school projects proved that audience participation had moved from passive watching into active community creation. Critics and film enthusiasts often cite the film's ability to become both a popular movie right now on streaming services and a timeless movie that will be revisited for generations. Discussions in podcasts and YouTube movie breakdowns highlight the layered storytelling, and threads in fan communities keep discovering micro details, a hallmark of films that become all-time great movies and that earn a place among genre-defining classics. In short, Coco did not just win awards, it created a living, breathing fandom activity that cycles through viral clips, fan art, cosplay, and academic interest, the kind of community engagement that sustains a film's cultural life far beyond its opening weekend. The cultural traction that Coco, 2017, translated directly into measurable financial opportunity, deeper international distribution revenue, robust digital licensing and steady merchandise tie-ins that together improved the film's long-term projected earnings. Because the film authentically reflected Mexican culture and featured relatable characters like Miguel, Anthony Gonzalez, and Héctor, Gael García Bernal, local markets such as Mexico produced exceptional box office returns, lifting global box office performance and strengthening the movie's cumulative income profile. This localized resonance reduced acquisition friction in Latin markets and created higher ticket multipliers per screen, an important factor in projected earnings and investor return on investment, ROI. From a monetization standpoint, the soundtrack, particularly the Oscar-winning song Remember Me, became a separate revenue engine through music licensing, soundtrack sales and streaming royalties. Digital licensing of the song for commercials, performance rights and covers increased licensing income, while the soundtrack's presence on Spotify, Apple Music and other platforms created recurring streaming revenue. These high CPM monetization streams add to box office receipts to form a diversified revenue mix that investors prize for steady, long-tail returns. Merchandising tie-ins were another crucial channel. Miguel's replica guitar, Dante plushes, character Funko figures and Dia de los Muertos, themed apparel all tapped into both holiday and evergreen sales cycles. Limited edition releases and exclusive retail partnerships generated spikes of demand. Classic marketing return on investment, ROI, behavior for culturally resonant films and help convert fan engagement into transactional merchandising revenue. When Disney packages merchandise tie-ins into seasonal promotions, the effect compounds. Thematic promotions around Dia de los Muertos lift sales and cross-sell to other Disney properties, increasing shareholder value through revenue diversification. The film also proved efficient in licensing efficiency for educational and cultural partners. Museums and cultural institutions licensed exhibition material and schools purchased educational kits tied to Coco themes, an atypical but reliable licensing income stream that lengthened the film's monetizable life cycle. This is an example of how culturally specific IP can unlock alternative monetization channels beyond toys and streaming, contributing to cumulative revenue in ways that action blockbusters often cannot. Comparative analysis helps clarify the financial story. Compared to The Book of Life, which had a smaller budget and narrower global reach, Coco delivered superior operating profit because Pixar and Disney leveraged larger distribution networks and stronger merchandising pipelines. Against Moana or Encanto, which also monetized music and cultural branding, Coco showed how musical IP plus cultural authenticity can match or exceed the franchise value of other animated hits, especially in markets looking for culturally relevant content. Analysts looking at franchise monetization often point to Coco as an example where targeted cultural resonance yields strong projected earnings without the need for immediate sequels. On the streaming front, content monetization via Disney Plus turned Coco into a retention asset. Families returned to the film for holiday viewing, driving consistent streaming minutes and reinforcing advertising revenue efficiency in cross-promotions, even on platforms that monetize viewership indirectly through subscriptions. This helps the studio show healthier long-term return on investment, ROI, metrics because subscriber retention driven by trusted IP supplements one-off box office cash flows. Finally, Coco shows investors that cultural impact is directly monetizable. Projected earnings from theatrical runs, combined with licensing income, merchandising revenue and streaming royalties, produce a diversified revenue stream that mitigates risk. When forecast models factor in recurring holiday demand, educational licensing and global cultural adoption, Coco's cumulative income profile looks robust and the film becomes a template for studios seeking franchise value through authentic storytelling rather than formulaic tentpoles. In sum, Coco demonstrates how cultural impact and financial strategy can align to produce both enduring fan culture and sustainable investor return on investment, ROI. In the world of latest movies that leave lasting impressions, Coco stands as a must-watch movie whose acclaim and cultural resonance make it far more than a passing hit. From the first notes of its score, audiences fell in love with the tale of Miguel Rivera, Anthony Gonzalez, whose heart and ambition drive the emotional core of the film. Supporting him, Gael García Bernal as Héctor, Benjamin Bratt as Echo Beto de la Cruz, Alana Ubik as Mama Imelda and Ana Ofelia Murguia as Mama Coco each delivered award-winning performances that drew praise from critics worldwide. When Coco premiered, it immediately generated waves among movie fans, cinema fans and film enthusiasts, with early movie reviews and reactions lauding its visual beauty and poignant narrative. Critics quickly situated Coco among all-time great movies, calling it one of Pixar's most emotionally resonant offerings. The film currently holds a 97% approval rating on Rotten Tomatoes, based on hundreds of reviews, and a Metacritic score of 81, underlining the consistency of its critical acclaim. Audiences responded in kind, viewer scores and audience reactions echoed praise for its themes of family, memory and identity. Many wrote that they cried, shared the film, or returned to rewatch it, the kind of behavior that earns a film the tag of a rewatchable movie and cements it as a timeless movie in popular culture. The film received prominent festival screenings and its awards run quickly became the stuff of legend. At the 90th Academy Awards, Coco won Best Animated Feature and Best Original Song for Remember Me, composed by Kristen Anderson Lopez and Robert Lopez. The song's victory was widely reported and celebrated, with performances at the Oscars ceremony adding to its cultural footprint. Coco also won the BAFTA Award for Best Animated Film, a Golden Globe for Best Animated Feature and multiple Critics' Choice Awards, further elevating its status among blockbuster movies recognized by industry peers. Among animation's competitive peers, Coco often draws comparisons to Frozen and Zootopia. Frozen, with its breakthrough soundtrack and viral success, shows how a single song can catapult a film into global consciousness. Coco achieves a similar alchemy not just through Remember Me but through emotional storytelling and cultural roots. Meanwhile, Zootopia is often cited for weaving social themes into family-friendly fantasy. Coco shares that ambition, albeit framed in Mexican heritage and memory. These comparisons are frequent in movie breakdowns, movie fan theories and movie explained content, giving new viewers points of reference when they dive into Coco's narrative and visual layers. Within fan culture, Coco inspired a robust wave of user-generated content, covers of the soundtrack, animated art, cosplay of Miguel and Héctor and trending memes around the Land of the Dead's glowing architecture. These viral movie clips and internet trends sustain the film's social media presence long after release. Fan engagement with movies like Coco ensures it regularly resurfaces in streaming platform recommendations, curated by movie lovers seeking heartfelt animation. Trivia also feeds the film's mythos. Coco swept all 11 feature film categories at the Annie Awards, from voice performance to production design to music. It also earned multiple Visual Effects Society Awards, where it received recognition in all 4 of its animated film categories. In Mexico, just prior to its US release, Coco broke local box office records, becoming the highest-grossing animated film ever in the country and surpassing many live-action titles in local currency. That cultural resonance contributed to its social media buzz, as Mexican and Latinx audiences embraced it as not just entertainment but heritage. As the film moved onto streaming platforms, streaming popularity gave it fresh life, older viewers rediscovered it, younger audiences discovered it anew and cultural events around Dia de los Muertos renewed engagement annually. In retrospectives on classic movies and vintage films, Coco already ranks among the most beloved of the 21st century. Even among niche fandom activity, it's cited in lists of genre-defining classics and cult classics of animation. In essence, Coco is more than a hit, it is modern myth, woven into the fabric of contemporary movie nostalgia. The critical triumphs and awards of Coco did more than fill trophies cases, they actively fueled its financial trajectory across multiple revenue channels. The film's post-award revenue boost manifested in renewed box office runs in select territories, streaming license renegotiations and reinvigorated merchandise demand. Analysts estimate that Coco's theatrical gross, $210.4 million domestic and $603.8 million international, for a total of $814.3 million, gave it a strong baseline to support further monetization layers. Given a production budget often quoted between $175 and $225 million, Coco's gross yields a theatrical multiple of roughly 3.5-4.5 times, before marketing, distribution and post-theatrical revenue streams are factored in. Post-award recognition likely improved its licensing valuations, allowing Disney to command higher fees from broadcasters and streaming platforms for territories that may have undervalued it prior to Oscar validation. This strengthens licensing income and makes projected earnings more robust and defensible in financial models. One tangible revenue boost came from the soundtrack licensing and digital rights income associated with Remember Me. After winning Best Original Song, the track saw renewed streaming, radio play and cover versions, all of which generate royalties. That means the film's content monetization extends beyond visual revenue into the realm of music across media synergy that enhances revenue diversification and shareholder value. Another key driver is merchandising tie-ins. Awards can rejuvenate consumer interest, prompting retailers to reintroduce deluxe editions or collector's bundles. For Coco, items like Miguel's guitar replica, Dante figure and culturally themed apparel saw renewed attention. Because consumer willingness to purchase is boosted by critical prestige, the profit forecasts for merchandise in the years following its release may exceed pre-award models. Streaming rights further contribute to multi-channel earnings. After awards, franchises often see better licensing deals and Coco is no exception. Being Oscar-recognized increases its value to platforms long-term, which translates into higher streaming monetization rates. Over time, these steady royalties compound, adding to cumulative revenue beyond initial box office success. To compare, Frozen did benefit enormously from awards and blockbuster hype in merchandising, spin-offs and theme park integration. Moana leveraged its positive reception to expand into music tours and branded experiences. Coco fits into this category of franchise valuation where awards open premium licensing packages and spur ancillary revenue flows. Because Coco has a distinct cultural property, its award-driven monetization is amplified in markets where the film resonates emotionally, especially Latin America and among the global diaspora. Investors and studio executives often view Coco as an example of how recognition enhances economic returns. With critical acclaim, the film reduces the risk premium for licensing deals, it supports higher advertising revenue efficiency when promoting merchandise, and it strengthens long-term audience loyalty, which in turn stabilizes projected earnings cycles. In models, awards may add a 10 to 20% uplift to licensing or streaming margins, though studios calibrate that based on venue and market.
In summary, Coco demonstrates the power of awards not just as accolades but as financial levers. The interplay of post-award revenue boost, enhanced licensing income, revived merchandising tie-ins and stronger streaming monetization underpins its enduring value. For investors and media analysts, Coco stands as a case where critical acclaim and financial performance reinforce each other, a model of how award-winning films can be both culturally meaningful and monetarily successful. As Coco cements its film legacy with a franchise potential that rivals Frozen's massive universe expansion, fans speculate on potential sequels and spin-off ideas, while the director's next projects and the upcoming movies from its talented cast hint at a bright future, with its enduring themes echoing across streaming platforms worldwide. The conclusion of a film like this is rarely the final chapter. For movie lovers, its legacy is measured by its lasting cinematic impact, its ongoing cultural relevance, and its ability to inspire deep audience engagement long after its theatrical run. This is the pinnacle of cinematic SEO, creating a story so beloved that it becomes a permanent part of the cultural conversation, fueling endless fan anticipation for any new content related to its world. From a financial perspective, this powerful legacy is the very foundation of immense, long-term profitability. A film's box office success is merely the first, albeit largest, entry on a balance sheet that will span decades. This is the high CPM world of strategic asset management, where the focus shifts to franchise lifecycle profitability, IP lifecycle value, and the intricate calculations of sequel investment risk. Investors are not just looking at a single film's returns. They are analyzing the cumulative revenue potential of an entire intellectual property. The ultimate goal is to build a self-sustaining asset that generates multi-channel revenue through sequels, merchandise and licensing, delivering a powerful return on investment, ROI, multiplier for decades to come. Today we will explore the dual legacy of a modern animated masterpiece, examining both its indelible mark on cinema, SEO, and the powerful financial empire it has built, CPM. The film legacy of Coco is profound and multifaceted. It stands as a true cinematic milestone, a film that not only achieved massive commercial success but also pushed the boundaries of authentic cultural storytelling in mainstream animation. Its genre influence can already be seen in a new wave of animated films that prioritize specificity and representation. This has cemented its pop culture footprint, making it one of the most important animated films of the 21st century. The film's incredible streaming popularity on Disney Plus is a testament to its staying power, where it remains one of the top-rated releases in the platform's catalog, consistently drawing in new viewers and satisfying nostalgic fans. This is a clear indicator of its incredible franchise potential. The conversation surrounding Coco has never faded, thanks to sustained audience engagement and viral fan theories about the deeper meanings of the Land of the Dead and its intricate rules. This is the bedrock of its sequel potential. While the original story is a perfect, self-contained masterpiece, fans can't help but dream up rumored plotlines and spin-off ideas. Could we see a prequel exploring the early lives of Héctor and Imelda? Or perhaps one of the many upcoming movies from Pixar could be a short film following Dante the Alubrige. This constant fan speculation and creativity show a powerful desire for more stories within this vibrant universe, signaling strong fan anticipation for any potential franchise expansions. Looking ahead, the franchise roadmap for Coco, while not officially announced, is a topic of constant discussion among animation fans. Unlike other properties that lean into immediate sequels, Pixar has been protective of Coco's legacy, which has only increased its value. The director's future projects and upcoming cast roles are followed closely by fans, but the hope for a return to the world of Coco remains strong. Whether it takes the form of a feature film, a series on Disney Plus, or even a theme park attraction, the potential for universe expansion is enormous. The story of family, memory, and music is timeless, ensuring that any future installment would likely become an instant streaming platform hit, further cementing the original's place as a modern classic. While a competitor film like How to Train Your Dragon earned an impressive long-term return on investment, ROI, for DreamWorks and Disney's own Frozen achieved staggering cumulative revenue projections, Coco's franchise lifecycle profitability could outperform many of its peers by leveraging a conservative approach to sequel investment risk and maximizing its IP lifecycle value through other channels. The financial legacy of Coco is a masterclass in building a durable, high-value asset. A comprehensive cumulative yield analysis would show massive returns not just from its $800 million box office, but from multi-channel revenue streams including home entertainment sales, music streaming revenue and, most importantly, its value to the Disney Plus platform. The long-term franchise return on investment, ROI, for Coco is built on its powerful emotional resonance, which translates directly into a long and profitable merchandising lifecycle. From guitars and character costumes to books and art prints, the merchandising revenue continues to generate significant operating profit. This is a prime example of revenue diversification. An investor's cumulative yield analysis would show that the initial investment has already been paid back many times over, creating an incredible return on investment, ROI, multiplier. The decision not to rush a sequel is a savvy financial move. It protects the brand's integrity, which in turn enhances the IP lifecycle value and ensures that when a sequel does happen, the pent-up demand will be enormous, justifying the sequel investment risk. Key stat: a top-tier Pixar IP like Coco is estimated to have an overall franchise valuation in the billions of dollars when factoring in its contribution to streaming sustainability, theme park integration and merchandising over a 20-year lifecycle. A detailed cumulative yield analysis would confirm its elite status. The modern streaming era provides Coco with incredible high CPM monetization opportunities. The digital rights income generated by its permanent place on Disney Plus is a cornerstone of the platform's value proposition. It serves as a powerful engine for subscriber retention, making its internal franchise valuation to Disney immeasurable. This ensures fantastic streaming sustainability and a powerful return on investment, ROI, multiplier on the original production cost. A thorough cumulative yield analysis would have to account for this massive, ongoing value. The projected investor returns from any potential multi-picture deal return on investment, ROI, would be astronomical, delivering immense shareholder value. This forward-looking cumulative yield analysis explains why Disney is so protective of the property. The powerful return on investment, ROI, multiplier makes it one of their most valuable modern assets. The final cumulative yield analysis will likely show it to be one of Pixar's most profitable original films, with a return on investment, ROI, multiplier that continues to grow.
Coco, 2017, the ultimate guide to Pixar's animated masterpiece. Welcome to your definitive guide to Coco, the 2017 Disney Pixar classic that captured the hearts of millions around the world. Whether you're planning to watch Coco for the first time, looking for a recap of the full story, or trying to understand the deeper meaning behind its powerful ending, you've come to the right place. Dive in as we explore the unforgettable journey of Miguel Rivera into the land of the dead, a story of family, music, and a love that transcends lifetimes. The unforgettable story. What is the movie Coco about? At its heart, Coco tells the story of Miguel Rivera, a 12-year-old boy living in Santa Cecilia, Mexico, with a secret passion for music. There's just one problem: his family, the Rivera shoemakers, has banned music for generations. They believe music is a curse, stemming from a painful memory of their great-great-grandfather who abandoned his family to pursue his dream of becoming a famous musician. Miguel, however, idolizes the legendary singer Ernesto de la Cruz and dreams of following in his footsteps. On the night of Dia de los Muertos, the Day of the Dead, a desperate Miguel breaks into Ernesto de la Cruz's mausoleum to borrow his famous guitar to perform in a talent show. But by strumming the magical instrument, he accidentally transports himself to the land of the dead, a vibrant, breathtaking underworld where the skeletons of past generations live on, so long as they are remembered by the living. To return home before he is trapped forever, Miguel must receive a blessing from a deceased family member. But his ancestors will only grant it if he promises to give up music for good. Unwilling to abandon his dream, Miguel embarks on a desperate quest to find his supposed great-great-grandfather, Ernesto de la Cruz, believing he is the only one who will understand his passion. Along the way, he teams up with a charming trickster skeleton named Héctor, who promises to help him in exchange for a favor that could change both their fates forever. The characters you'll never forget. Who is in Coco? The magic of Coco lies in its vibrant cast of characters, both living and dead. Miguel Rivera, our hero. A determined and kind-hearted boy whose love for music puts him on a collision course with his family's history. His journey is one of self-discovery, passion, and understanding the true meaning of family. Héctor, a charismatic, down-on-his-luck skeleton in the land of the dead. Desperate to visit his family in the living world on Dia de los Muertos, he becomes Miguel's reluctant guide. Héctor is funny and tragic, carrying a deep secret that is central to the film's emotional core. Ernesto de la Cruz, the most famous musician in the history of Mexico. In death, he is the biggest star in the land of the dead, throwing lavish parties and beloved by all. Miguel believes Ernesto is his ancestor and the key to his musical dreams, but the truth behind his legacy is far darker than it appears. Mama Imelda, Miguel's great-great-grandmother and the powerful matriarch of the Rivera family in the land of the dead. It was her broken heart that led to the family's ban on music. She is stern and formidable but driven by a fierce love for her family. Dante, Miguel's loyal and goofy Xoloitzcuintli dog. More than just a sidekick, Dante plays a crucial role as an alabrige, a spiritual guide who can travel between the worlds of the living and the dead. The music that defines a generation, Remember Me, and more. You cannot talk about Coco without talking about its Oscar-winning music. The soundtrack is a beautiful celebration of Mexican musical styles, but one song stands as its emotional anchor, Remember Me, Recuérdame. Written by the same team behind Frozen's Let It Go, the song appears in several forms throughout the movie. First, it's presented as Ernesto de la Cruz's signature flashy hit. But the true, devastatingly beautiful meaning of the song is revealed later. It's not a song for the world, it's a quiet, gentle lullaby written from a father to his daughter, begging her not to forget him. Other standout songs like the joyful, Un Poco Loco, and the heartfelt, The World Es Mi Familia, add layers of fun and emotion to Miguel's journey. A visual masterpiece, The Land of the Dead and Alabriges. Pixar's animators created one of the most visually stunning worlds in animation history with Coco's Land of the Dead. It's not a scary or gloomy place, it's a bustling, vertical metropolis lit by millions of candles and connected by bridges made of glowing simpasicle, marigold, petals. The city is populated by whimsical skeletons and vibrant, fluorescent creatures known as alabriges, spirit guides from Mexican folk art brought to life in breathtaking fashion. The sheer level of detail, from the cobblestone streets to the individual carvings on the skeleton's bones, makes watching Coco an immersive and awe-inspiring experience. Spoiler alert, the shocking twist and heartbreaking ending of Coco explained. If you haven't seen the movie, stop reading now. The ending of Coco is one of the most emotionally powerful in cinematic history, and it all hinges on a massive twist. Throughout his journey, Miguel discovers the terrible truth: Ernesto de la Cruz was never his ancestor. In fact, Ernesto poisoned and murdered his musical partner, Héctor, to steal his songs and guitar, including Remember Me. The real tragedy is that Héctor is Miguel's true great-great-grandfather. He wasn't abandoning his family for fame, he was trying to return home to his wife, Imelda, and their young daughter, Coco, when Ernesto killed him. Héctor is in danger of being forgotten forever, as his daughter, Mama Coco, now an elderly woman with fading memories, is the last living person who remembers him. If she forgets, he will suffer the final death and vanish completely. In a race against time, Miguel returns to the land of the living and finds Mama Coco unresponsive. In a last, desperate act, he takes Héctor's guitar and sings Remember Me to her, just as her father did all those years ago. The music awakens a deep memory, and she lights up, speaking her father's name and sharing his stories with the family. In that single, beautiful moment, Héctor is saved, the family's history is healed, the ban on music is lifted, and Miguel brings his entire family, living and dead, back together. It's a perfect, tear-jerking finale about how love and memory, passed down through stories and songs, are the most powerful forces of all. It's why Coco is a must-watch film for anyone who values family, heritage, and the stories that define us.